Rhett and Link, the YouTube star best friend comedy duo that have actually been one of the very, very few OG YouTubers to have avoided significant scandals and or controversy up until the present. Let's hope it stays that way. But Rhett and Link, as YouTubers, are not free of sin, as relatively clean as their records may be. Perhaps the biggest misstep in Rhett and Link history, aside from the clearly Canadian controversy and the switch from GMM to the expanded format, was the two's YouTube Red original series, Buddy System. I don't really feel like explaining YouTube Red again after I already did it in this video, so on the off chance that you don't know what it is, just go to that one and skip to this time. Anyway, like I said in that video, the overall response to YouTube Red original series, Vsauce's Minefield excluded, was pretty damn negative. They all looked like soulless corporate slop that belonged on Disney Channel more than the lovingly and independently created and raised YouTube channels that we'd come to know and love. And unfortunately, Buddy System, at least as it seems to me, was no exception at all. And that really hurt. Rhett and Link have always sort of towed the line between being friendly with the corporate side of YouTube, but also not being afraid to speak their minds and communicate honestly with their audience. So, when Buddy System was announced, not only did it not look great, it was also a sort of et tu Brute moment for the true Rhett and Link fans. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Really, I just kinda randomly remembered that the series existed recently, and lo and behold, the entire thing is now free for everyone to watch. So, 8 years later, I finally saw Rhett and Link's Buddy System, and I have some thoughts. Okay, first things first. What is the series actually about? It's the present day, which at that time was 2016. Rhett and Link are making Good Mythical Morning in their studio. Day's done. Everything's cool until they have to go through a dark alleyway. A music video ensues. They get caught by a security guard for tucking their shirts into their underwear, and Link gets tased. But it's cool because apparently the security guard is their old friend from high school. After some painfully wooden dialogue, Link realizes he lost his phone, but it's too late because it's already been stolen by Amy, Rhett and Link's mutual ex-girlfriend, who now is apparently an infomercial lady. Her plan is to use Link's phone to hack into all of the mythical social media accounts and hijack them to promote her products. At least, that's what it is for the first 7 episodes, and we'll get to that. Link tries retracing his steps to remember what happened to his phone, and eventually remembers the last time he saw it was at a cafe. They go there and have a really weird interaction with the owner, and turns out none of that mattered, because they find out Amy took the channel anyway when she posts an infomercial about it. They have a flashback to a moment at a high school dance when Rhett and Link found out that Amy was collectively cheating on them both, and they best friended all over her heart, sending her running away, humiliated. We also find out that Amy has some sort of big secret that she's been using to blackmail Rhett and Link into complying with her. They also engage in gang warfare on Venice Beach, as one does. Now, the two boys are faced with a decision. They can either let their channel be taken over by her and become corporate slaves, definitely not foreshadowing for real life, or they can let their secret out. After Link trips balls and Rhett meets a feral guy, they resolve to take their channel back and infiltrate Amy HQ in disguises. Link blows his cover and drags Rhett into it, and they get captured, and then Amy reveals her grand plan. She forgets all about the entire infomercial takeover thing, and for some reason turns into a crazy yandere, telling Rhett and Link that all she wanted was for them to be BFFs, which she tried to do all those years ago in high school with a mind control hat. Rhett curb stomps his, and meanwhile the security guard, the gang warfare people, and the cafe owner all come in to save them, but nothing works, just for Rhett to start singing right before Link impales him, and the power of friendship breaks through the mind control. Amy dies brutally, and everyone celebrates with a rap song, The end. Woo! Okay, let's talk about the problems. I'm titling this section of the video Nonsense, because that, in my opinion, is the biggest issue with this series. Half of it just makes no sense at all. Now I know what you're saying. Isn't that the point of Rhett and Link's comedy? Isn't it funny because it's absurd? And my answer to that would be no. It's pretty clear that Rhett and Link are trying to channel the same energy as in their sketches with this series, and that's fine, but there's a fundamental reason why those sketches worked and this series doesn't. And that's that the sketches are funny and this series is not funny. Even if Rhett and Link's classic sketches are absurd, they still have a sort of control to their chaos. More specifically, the absurdness starts to build to a kind of crescendo. Take Most Complicated Board Game Ever, for example. It starts with a simple premise, a group of friends playing a board game, but the story slowly gets more and more absurd and faster paced until it finally ends with a resolution. This is not the structure of Buddy System. You kind of just have a bunch of random jokes that make absolutely no sense, interrupting the story every few minutes. No build-up, no crescendo, just tossed into the script because random equal funny, apparently. For example, in the first scene of the first episode, Rhett just randomly says that pencil sharpeners have always scared him.
I'm gonna use a pencil sharpener. It's always scared me.
And that's it. That's the joke. Never comes up again. In the fifth episode, they meet a guy who they suspect is a vampire, but it's never actually confirmed. He just acts like a vampire for one scene, and then disappears for the rest of the show. The entire scene is just shoehorned in and contributes absolutely nothing to the plot. It's not just the scenes that are nonsense, it's entire characters. Rhett, in particular, as a character, made pretty much no sense in this series. Look, I understand that both Rhett and Link play different versions of themselves in sketch comedy, and that's perfectly fine. But what's not perfectly fine is inconsistency. What I mean by that is that the show can't seem to decide if Rhett is a comedic profile or a straight man. If you don't know, the straight man is a comedy trope where one person out of a comedy duo or comedy group is a conventional character with no identifiable comedic quirks, but they act kind of like a foil to other characters when they act absurdly, which adds a sort of deadpan edge to the comedy. Think Jim Halpert from The Office or Jerry Seinfeld from Seinfeld. Rhett is almost that character in Buddy System, except when he isn't. Look how differently he acts minutes apart in the same episode of the show.
Don't listen to her, Link. Top hats don't compliment your face shape. She's controlling your mind, man, with that amazing invention.
Rhett is being a very naughty boy. We could burn him to death with the hot and sticky bra. It's the world's first bra to feature 2 fully functional hot glue guns.
Now, that's a good idea. Not killing me, but, extruding hot glue from the nipple region.
You can even hear the difference in his voice. It's like he's playing 2 different characters. It's not just Rhett. Amy, the main villain of the series, switches motivations for absolutely no reason in the last episode, like I said. For 7 episodes, her goal was to take over GMM's social media so she could use it to promote her products. But all of a sudden, in episode 8, she wants to force Rhett and Link to be her friends forever in a never-ending prom. She explains that the philosophy behind her products is combining 2 things that you normally wouldn't think could go together, like a rake and a clock, or cinnamon and a basketball. Yeah, it's not funny, nor does it make any sense for the mind control hat product, but stick with me. She says the only thing she could never put together was her and Rhett and Link, which is like a decent motivation for a villain, actually, and it humanizes her more, but this comes completely out of left field. It's not even a genuine twist. 1, because it's never foreshadowed at all in the first 7 episodes, and 2, the characters don't even treat it like a twist. Everyone just kind of rolls with it like it was her motivation the whole time. It just comes off as lazy writing. Like, character traits and motivations can change on a dime just to make one specific joke or plot point work, and then snap back again, like one of those door stopper things on a wall. It could go on about the other questionable writing decisions, There are numerous plot holes and other off-color moments, but that's pretty much the bulk of my criticism. Let's move on. The music is probably the best part of this series, which is kind of a compliment and an insult at the same time, because the series doesn't contribute really anything at all to the music. It would be perfectly fine on its own. You can tell, because the So Dang Dark music video has over twice as many views as the Buddy System Season 1 trailer. So yeah, Rhett and Link, make more music videos. A lot of effort went into the editing, the effects, and the sets, and in most cases, it looks like it really paid off. There are 7 original songs in total in Buddy System Season 1. The aforementioned So Dang Dark has a catchy melody and some really cool glow-in-the-dark effects. My Exercise Bike has a sort of Margaritaville-esque tune with a hardcore edge. Roller Unity has a charming retro feel. Power Nap is a fun hip-hop parody with a funny music video. Tough Decisions feels like a classic Rhett and Link music video with really great harmonization. Another Me is a barbershop quartet piece with a bit of Rhett and Link absurdity. And finally, the title track, BFF. It's the longest of the 7, and it's a decently catchy song with a pretty nice beat. It's a good generalist theme to wrap up the entire series. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about the music. It's good. If there's one thing I learned in high school English class, it's that audience is everything. So let's see if we can find out who Buddy System's audience is. First of all, it's pretty clear that the series is meant for people who are already fans of GMM. There are a lot of tongue-in-cheek references to GMM episodes in the past, like the Egg Rolly and Butter Cutter, the Anti-Mugger Walk, and also the fact that Rhett and Link do actually have a mutual ex-girlfriend named Leslie. But I have to imagine it's also targeted towards people who are Rhett and Link fans overall, and not just GMM fans. There's a pretty big difference there. I don't know if you noticed, but in 2017, Rhett and Link officially rebranded their company, which was previously called Rhett and Link Inc., to Mythical Entertainment LLC. And it was kind of a long time coming. By 2016, Rhett and Link was Good Mythical Morning. The show had become basically their entire brand. The sketches and music videos pretty much ended in 2015, and with that, the official Rhett and Link channel was pretty much dead in the water. There were 0 actual uploads on the channel between 2016 and 2019, when they switched gears and started doing vlogs. All that to say, the entire Rhett and Link brand was undergoing a serious realignment by the time Buddy System came out. I feel like I'm repeating the same thing I said about Vsauce and Minefield, but I really can't help but see the parallels between that and the rebranding Rhett and Link did around this time. It's the same kind of paradigm shift that really felt like it was leaving the OG fans in the dust. Rhett and Link's entire brand was literally built on music videos and sketches. It's hard to believe now that GMM started as just a side project. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that Buddy System came at a weird time. Aesthetically, it resembles the older Rhett and Link content, but it came out right as they were leaving that sort of thing behind. It seems like they couldn't really nail down what the hell they wanted the series to be. It doesn't really feel like something new, just kind of an awkward rehashing of the old Rhett and Link, but without the soul. And I think that really turned off any potential interest the show might have generated, whether from OG fans or post-Mythical rebrand fans. Anyway, I wish I could say more about the reactions to this series, but I can't because all the likes are disabled and the comments are turned off, which I figure can't be a good sign. And that brings me to my next point. Like I said, their sketch and music video content ended in 2015, but I guess it had a sort of afterlife in this series. But think about that for a second. Rhett and Link stopped making one kind of content to focus fully on making another kind of content. But then they brought that other content back, which used to be free, and made it paid. Which, yeah, definitely seems like a net negative to their brand to me. I have no idea what happened behind the scenes with the production of this series, but I at least want to try and give Rhett and Link the benefit of the doubt and believe that they were the ones approached by YouTube about making a YouTube Red series, and not the other way around. That would have put them in an awkward place, because they were clearly given a lot of money to make this series, but only really knew how to be two versions of themselves. They obviously couldn't just make GMM 2.0 because the charm of GMM is that it's just two guys at a desk, so they probably figured they would just go back to their old faithful sketch comedy. And to me, that just makes the series feel like such a big waste. Rhett and Link, two random guys who started making small business commercials for a living, were given all the resources they needed to make a fully fledged TV show. But Buddy System was the best that they could come up with. Greater than old school Rhett and Link and GMM in quality, but much lesser in heart. So this basically has nothing to do with the rest of the video, but something caught me off guard when I was watching episode 4.
So are you a little bitch like your old man?
Yeah, that was weird. Now I know some occasional swearing is at least somewhat common in GMM and by Rhett and Link in general now, but for 2016, this is kind of out of place. To my knowledge, the first time the word bitch was ever said on GMM was 2 years in the future, all the way in 2018, and even then, Link reacted like this.
Call a female sheep, and he said, bitch.
Oh. Do we have to edit that?
No, it's a female's dog.
So, yeah, that seemed weird to me, especially when the series has the YouTube name on it, and YouTube demonetizes people for using swear words, but I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, that was all I wanted to say. You watch this clip, and you tell me what it makes you think of.
What up, everyone? It's your girl, Superwoman. Okay, I feel the need to comment on the fact that Rhett and Link are turning Good Mythical Morning into a shopping network.
Rhett and Link have hit a new low. They're just simply uploading commercials to their Good Mythical Morning channel. They have allowed their GMM channel to get taken over by Brell Life. And I'm all for sponsorships, but it's just lazy and obscene.
If this is the trend that's happening on YouTube, I'm not gonna jump on that bandwagon.
I was nearly killed by breathing too close to the Brell Life cinnamon dusted basketball. Please send them a message along with me by going over to their channel and unsubscribing. Rhett and Link have crossed over to the dark side.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, pretty on the nose. Again, I know Rhett and Link, among YouTubers at least, are pretty aware of how they're perceived by their audience. So, fine, they got us. They called us out. I know it's not like they didn't take their fans' concerns with YouTube Red seriously, but still, watching that part of the series in hindsight from 2025, I can't help but feel like they still went down the sellout route despite being fully aware of where it would lead them. And I'm not just talking about YouTube Red. Most channels get sponsored by, the usuals. Surfshark VPN, Squarespace, Raid Shadow Legends.
When something happens, it is always you three.
Believe me, Professor, I've been asking myself the same question for 6 years.
But as a matter of the past few years, they were literally sponsored by Amazon, Walmart, Google, Wish.com. I would direct you to the episodes Is This a Gift or a Gag? And International Hot Sauce Taste Test for some specific examples of these clumsily integrated sponsorships. I'm sure talking about Walmart for 1/5 of an entire GMM episode was just as hard for them to do as it was for us to watch. And yes, I know they have families to feed, and a studio full of employees to pay, and I bet those big name sponsorships probably pay good money. I'm not saying big name sponsorships are immoral or anything, but they really make it hard not to dunk on them when it's so clear that they saw what was coming and went with it anyways. Maybe I'm reading too far into this scene and it was just thrown into the script as an afterthought, but knowing what's happened to the Rhett and Link brand since Buddy System, I just couldn't ignore it. I'm not really sure if Buddy System can be said to have a legacy at all. Really, more than anything, it has an anti-legacy. Like I said, all of the Buddy System episodes are free now, but on all of the episodes, the comments and likes are disabled, minus the first episode, which was free on launch. I don't want to make assumptions, but it really seems like Rhett and Link wanted to try and distance themselves from the series as much as possible once it was over. For what reasons is anyone's guess. Though I suspect, like Vsauce's Minefield, that it wasn't exactly a smashing success. I'm starting to think that was true about every single YouTube Red series though. They probably mentioned it at least once in like Ear Biscuits or something, but I don't know, I'm too lazy to try and find something like that. What I can say for certain is that while I went in pretty hard on buddy system here, part of me thinks maybe it had to happen. Kind of like how your body has to induce a fever when it's fighting off an infection. It's not fun, but it's part of the process of getting better. And I do think Rhett and Link have gotten better since buddy system. Their new series Wonder Hole, I think, is the best example. And hey, maybe we needed buddy system to get to that point. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you want me to do a video on buddy system season 2 as well. I'm interested to see what's different about it. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed. Take care, and see you next time.